Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. I am Tahir Dhindsa and you are watching SDTV. Water is fundamental. Whole life is based on that. And initially, they say that life sprang out of this earth because of water. Pakistan is blessed that it has Indus water system. But after the partition, the upper riparian started claiming more of it, and that led to some sort of feud. Then Indus Water Treaty was signed, and it's claimed as a very successful. It went on during the wars between the two countries. In 2023, India wrote a letter to ask Pakistan to start the intergovernmental negotiation to redo, to remake, to sign a new treaty on that. Obviously, for they were looking forward to have more share of the water which they had already, which was stipulated in the treaty. Now it has gone to war proportions. They are threatening to block water. From Chenab, they are drilling out a tunnel and a canal where they can divert water to their territory, and which is not acceptable to Pakistan, especially after the climate change. Because if they make it erratic, they will put more water, they will send more water when it's not required, and they'll stop water when it's, for example, now Pakistan needs water in Sindh, especially for cultivating new crop, and the water is scarce. And that is taking the both countries where Pakistan says it's an act of war. What are Indians' ambitions and what is the solution? And if is there any solution right away? And we'll discuss that with expert. We have today with us Mr. Shafqat Kakakhel. He was Deputy High Commissioner of Pakistan in India, and above all, he was Deputy Director, UN Environment Fund, UNEP, which is the mother organization for environment and Triple C and other. Shafqat Kakakhel sir, just say something on this issue and we'll rumble on then.
Well, we are talking about India's assault on the Indus Water Treaty.
All right.
And what the Indians have done since January 2023, when they asked for new intergovernmental negotiations for negotiating a new Indus Waters Agreement, it has multiple negative implications and consequences. The first, of course, is the most obvious, which is water issues was the first problem between India and Pakistan. And it would have remained the most challenging problem had it not been resolved. Now, it was resolved as a result of 9 years of negotiations brokered by the World Bank, which was truly neutral, and it only wanted peace in the Indus Basin so that it could provide support for projects of India and Pakistan for the fuller development of water resources. That was the only interest the World Bank had. 9 years of negotiations in which the World Bank deployed dozens of experts. The second, so we now have an open wound, a very serious humanitarian issue, an issue of which Pakistan calls existential issue, a life and death issue for which there is no the remedy, which had worked for 6.5 decades, has been removed. The second implication is that the Indus Water Treaty, when the Indus Water Treaty was negotiated, international water law was in its infancy. You had agreements between the United States and Canada, United States and Mexico, and the agreement in our part of the world, the Nile Agreement. But all of them, particularly in the case of the Nile, the African countries, which were the upper riparians, complained that the lower riparian had
Very unique.
been given a major share because it was the most powerful country. So you had now what the Indus Water Treaty did, the contents of the Indus Water Treaty enunciated a number of principles of international water law. First, that both upper and lower riparians have rights over the basin. Second, that the upper riparian should not undertake projects without consulting with the lower riparian so as to ensure that the projects are of equal benefit or are not against the lower riparian. The third, that there should be mechanisms for consultation and dispute settlement. The fourth principle was no harm principle, that the upper riparian should not do anything that directly
Harmful.
adversely affects the lower interest. Now, all these principles were accommodated in the United Nations Convention on Watercourses. It's called the United Nations Watercourses Convention 1997. Now, that convention and the Indus Water Treaty are important because the majority of the world population lives in water along, they depend on rivers which are transboundary, meaning they are used, they are
By
accessed
many countries.
more than one country. So basically what the Indians have done, what I call the Indian assault or the Indian aggression, hydro-aggression if you like, nearer home, this was the most equitable agreement in South Asia. India is upper riparian for Pakistan and Bangladesh and lower riparian for Nepal. But the agreement signed with Nepal discriminated against Nepal because Nepal could only develop hydropower resources if they were acceptable to India. As far as Bangladesh is concerned, the Indians, it took a country that they had established. It took 25 years or so.
On Farha Barrage.
On Farah, and when the agreement was signed in 1996, the Bengalis were unhappy. And it was with great difficulty that the Indians said the agreement will be valid for 30 years. The 30 years have passed. And Bangladesh has no idea whether India will renew. In fact, according to reports that I have read, the Indians want to renegotiate the agreement because they say some of the contents are unacceptable. So you had in South Asia a template of water sharing that satisfied both upper and lower riparians. You had in the whole world an agreement that codified international water law. So this is a major setback.
Yeah, what are the effects on Pakistan, if you quickly? We all know.
Basically, what the agreement did was, because India's first condition, you have to, if you read the documents of the negotiations, the Indians' number one demand was total control over the eastern rivers. Ravi, Sutlej, Beas, because they said, look, the eastern rivers, the development of the eastern rivers, the control system, the canal system was made on the basis of united country. Since most of the land was in Punjab, we've lost the Punjab because it has gone to Pakistan. And we need to develop our Punjab, which had remained undeveloped, Haryana and Rajasthan. So we need in totality, we need the eastern rivers 100%. And in addition, they said we need 7% of the western rivers. This was the initial position of the Indians. And now the western rivers were to basically to be allowed to flow into Pakistan. But because the Indians had asked for the 7%, and they could not tell, what to do with the 7%, they decided that they will be allowed to establish projects for hydropower generation, but projects which do not entail storage. They entail pondage. Pondage means that a pond which propels the engine to produce electricity, and then the water returns to the river.
It is filled once in its lifetime, then it's run of the river.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
So the lower riparian does not lose any water. And then the other thing is that the agreement, because the rivers, the western rivers, are initiated, except in the case of the Indus, which originates from Tibet. The other, Jhelum and Chenab, originate in India, glaciers of the Himalayas, located in India. So,
located in Ladakh and somewhere.
Yeah. It was decided that India will be obliged to provide full information on the water flows for flood management. Now, at a time when, because of the climate change, the number of floods, the number of drought conditions, heat waves has increased, Pakistan has no benefit of information about the flows when the rivers are in the upper zone.
It has gone erratic.
Yeah. So the main conditions were the division of the rivers in such a way that the minimum requirements or the maximum requirements of both countries were fulfilled. And the second was that there was exchange of information. The third was that the two countries will consider cooperation. Now, I keep explaining to people that the Indus Water Treaty is not only a problem-solving agreement, it was a cooperation promotion agreement. And that is why the Pakistan Foreign Office in 2023 described the Indus Water Treaty as the gold standard in terms of water sharing agreements. And now humanity is losing.
What do you think? Why they are doing it? It's a general aggression against Pakistan, or because of the climate change and impending scarcity and all that?
Well, there is definitely,
population has grown.
In order to give Pakistan full access to all the flows of the western rivers, restrictions were placed on India, particularly the run-of-the-river projects. India does not want restrictions. India wants to dictate terms, not to be dictated terms.
Use as much and allow the rest of the leftover to Pakistan.
Yeah, the water hegemon. Imagine treating Nepal as if it was the lower riparian when the rivers come from Nepal, and which are essential for those areas which are irrigated by the river and which generate hydropower. So what has happened is, so far, India has, number one, it has prioritized, shortlisted, fast-tracked 7 or 8 projects on the Chenab for completion without any reference to Pakistan. Now, One of the requirements was that India will notify Pakistan 6 months before
Initiation.
any project. And Pakistan would look at, and the Indus Water Treaty has full information on the technical requirements, which are all meant to safeguard the lower riparian, Pakistan.
Right. So
Now they want to have projects with full storage, which means less water for Pakistan. And so that is the first. So far, naturally, because it takes time for water projects to be formulated, then for tenders to be called, for projects to be awarded. But projects have been awarded mostly to the Hindustan Hydropower Development Corporation, which
there
is one of the 8 public sector companies. Secondly, and that is very dangerous because it can be done quickly, the Indus Water Treaty recognizes 2 canals, which the Maharaja of Punjab, of Kashmir had sanctioned, Rambir. And that is with the full information, exact information of the quantity of water carried by the canals. What India wants to do is to expand one of the Rambir, the canal. That will, any water actually drawn from the river and not returning to the river is a loss to Pakistan. So that is the second.
how much
The
water they
third,
can? More than 20, 30%?
there are the exact cubics and everything is given.
But
So,
it's a, I mean, quantifiable. It's a big amount.
absolutely.
It's a big amount.
Absolutely. Now, the third thing is which is very, very dangerous. It is absolutely contrary to the content and spirit of the Indus Water Treaty. The Indus Water Treaty was about rivers, the division of rivers, not that you go from basin to basin. So, what they are doing now is to an underground tunnel, which will carry water from Chenab to Beas. Beas, which was the smallest basin in the Indus system of basins, is the Beas. So now Beas will be
that pass
enriched.
close to the Gurdaspur and all.
Yeah, and it basically it was for Bahawalpur, the canal was Beas was important. So now, if this tunnel is established, you will have an absolute reduction in the river, in the waters flowing into Pakistan at a time when, because of population explosion, because of climate change, the rivers of the Indus Basin will receive less water.
One fundamental question, what you're saying is contrary to the international law. I'm not talking about the Indus Water Treaty. Otherwise, the conventions, and it's contrary to that as well.
Of course, it's contrary to the International Water Course Convention, 1997, which calls for no harm principle.
All right.
That means the upper riparian must not do anything that causes substantial damage to the lower riparian.
So what can we do now is important. So let's take a break. So here we take a break, and after the break, when we come back, we'll try to talk on what is the way forward on that. So please stay with us. Welcome back. So, sir, we were talking about what's the way forward, what Pakistan can do.
Yeah. When Pakistan received...
Short of using artillery, cannons, all that.
Yes. What Pakistan did was, when the Indians sent a notice in January, maybe I think 25th January 2023, from the Indian commissioner to the Pakistani commissioner. Later on, they also said Pakistan invited India's attention to the clause of the Indus Water Treaty that if there are any problems over the implementation of the Indus Water Treaty, the first is to hold consultations, bilateral consultations. If the bilateral consultations don't work, then you go to the World Bank. And the World Bank either appoints an eminent engineer to resolve the problem as neutral expert or convenes a court of arbitration if the issues are technical and legal. And so Pakistan, after interministerial consultations and consultations with experts, I was a part of those consultations, wrote back to India in April 2023 saying, let's have a meeting of the Commission. India did not answer and kept sending notices calling for intergovernmental negotiations. Then in next year, in 2024, India said, we will not attend, we will not allow meetings of the Indus Commission if you don't agree to hold negotiations. And there was also the problem over the dispute settlement, the problems that India had created by not implementing the decision of the Court of Arbitration on Kishanganga. This is a 350 megawatt project on the Jhelum, one of the Jhelum tributaries.
Neelam
Valley. I mean, it affects that on Pakistani side. And what the Court of Arbitration had done was to allow India to build the project, but to take 4 or 5 measures to provide guarantees to Pakistan. India did not. India carried out half of the changes that were required and did not. So Pakistan went back to.
Did they change the design of the project?
This is what I mean. The design changes were not complete.
All right.
They only partially implemented, and this has been Pakistan's complaint about India. You know, Indians give the impression as if Pakistan has not allowed any projects without objection. That is not true. India has already built 30 projects, on 55% of them on the Chenab and the others, 2 on the Indus and the others on Jhelum. And all that Pakistan does is basically compare the design sent by India with the specifications in the annexure.
All right. Now what is on? What is the way forward?
So, number one, Pakistan is still seeking bilateral consultations.
But that's not happening.
But it is not happening. The second thing is that Pakistan has informed the United Nations through its PR, public permanent representative in New York. We have also sent a note, detailed communication to the Security Council. And whenever, since 2023, all the forums, water-related meetings, Pakistan has made the point that India is guilty of not implementing, not following the Indus Waters Treaty, and that the international community should persuade India to sit together with Pakistan to resolve this problem amicably and in a spirit of cooperation and friendship. Unfortunately, there is no international forum that can use force against a member state. Even in the Security Council, which is supposed to be where the 5...
But the diplomatic, we all know that Indus Water Treaty was done. One of the reasons was that West was, we were very close to the West at that time. Pakistan would have influence with the West at that time. That was one of the reasons.
The Western countries' main contribution was that when Pakistan established that the Western rivers, because of its dependence on the glaciers and the monsoons, that they were not enough for Pakistan's needs and there would be need for storage. permanent storage. You know, until 1947, in fact, until 1967, there was no storage in the Indus Basin. All the rivers flowed naturally. So the World Bank asked an official sort of scientific study, and the study revealed that Pakistan was right in saying, and they do need storage. Now, Pakistan had no money. The World Bank asked India. They said, look, you are getting three rivers, 100%, whereas Pakistan is losing water. So for the Pakistani projects for storage, you need to pay.
Yeah.
And India said, we cannot pay because we are a developing country. Now the Indians are saying, we paid 62 million pounds for the canal, Mangla and Tarbela, and this is unprecedented. It's also unprecedented to divide rivers.
Yeah. So what do you think? What are your hunches? What is the gut feeling that where are we
My
going?
own hunch and my own suggestion would be for the influential countries of the world, in particular the United States. India is very proud of its multidimensional relationship with the United States. The United States provides defense support and equipment. The United States is a major trading partner of
India.
It is even a major space partner of India. And so, with all this, the Americans should persuade the Indians to pull the agreements out of abeyance. What the Indians did in 2025 after the Pahalgam incident, they said, we will not implement the agreement. The agreement is in
Suspension.
abeyance.
Abeyance. Held in abeyance.
Abeyance is not a legal term. It's a political rhetoric.
As if they have imposed a martial law.
Yeah. So, what the Indus Waters Treaty should be restored. The Commission should hold its functions.
Yeah, but that is our desire and our point of view and requirement, and we justify it's internationally tenable and all that. But what do you think? What is the real way forward?
The real way
Other
forward
than US,
is
because there's a international law on that. And
Pakistan cannot agree to any reduction in water because the Indian argument is that population has gone up. If you look at population increase, Pakistan's population has gone up by more than 5 times. India's is 3 times.
So they should give more water.
Yeah. The second argument is that we need to produce clean energy because India, as you know, is the third biggest polluter. International pressure to agree to introduce more and more renewable energy, clean energy. So are we. I mean, we are not under pressure, but we also want to develop clean sources because the unclean sources are not only unclean, they are also expensive. Whereas hydropower, after the initial cost, it's the cheapest source of power. So what we need is for that, the treaty has been restored. The commissioners are meeting and India is providing statistics and data on the water flows in the upper reaches of the basin. There is a need for a comprehensive dialogue on various aspects of the Indus challenges. For instance, climate change.
Under the commission or intergovernmental? That is the main.
This is the two countries and the stakeholders. You need experts, not civil servants only.
Track 2 or something.
Track 2, then later on becoming 1.5, and later on.
Where some are the retired and some are incumbent in office.
Yeah.
Right.
So, but India has certain complaints which need to be taken into account. And the major complaint that India has is that the treaty asks for technology which belongs to the 1950s. So let the experts from both countries, joined by experts from the world, come up with answers. Pakistan's only interest is undiminished access to the flows of the western rivers. If this objective is fulfilled, any design changes, any other changes, uh, we could consider, and of course, jurists will have to, legal experts will have to tell us how to accommodate those changes in the body of the treaty, or a new protocol is signed without affecting the treaty.
Right.
And that is basically the way. And after all, India is paying in terms of its reputation. India wants to become a permanent member of the Security Council. How can you have a country in the top echelon of the major organ of the United Nations, a country which is violating its own duly negotiated agreements? After all, it was,
Yeah.
and the agreement, because about 8 or 10 countries contributed, it is an affront to all those countries which gave their taxpayers' money for the projects.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Last question quickly, or you may give a one-liner if you want to. Do you think it's a war-like situation, or it's actually a war?
At the moment, it is warlike activities. And because we haven't seen the impact of either the Rambir Canal or the underground tunnel from
Chenab to Beas.
Chenab to Beas, or the fast-tracked projects which have not gone through the commission scrutiny and all.
Unilateral.
So you can say that it's kind of preparations for war, but we haven't yet seen war. In response, I think that Pakistan should not only pursue the goal of salvaging the Indus Water Treaty, it should also put its own house in order in terms of the management of the water resources.
Yeah, that's one thing.
Because we have neglected. If you look at the allocations for irrigation infrastructure, all the provinces, the infrastructure is decaying.
That should be rebuilt.
Yeah, and this, remember, we are in a region, because of the Himalayas are the youngest mountain system.
So they get a lot of silt and everything.
All the water courses in the subcontinent tend to silt up much more rapidly than anywhere else.
Yeah. So thank you very much. And I think we should talk more often than we talk with experts. And there should be some narrative which should be built at the country level in order to allow the negotiations to take hold and take place. With this, we come to the end of the program. Bye for now.